This is the Iceman. Just want to put a quick notice out here. If you are a sexy black woman and you're if you're at least 30 years old and up, go to my website, asktheiceman.com, and shoot me a direct email. Let me know what you're working with. Attach a pic so I can open it and we can go from there. Somebody was telling me the other day, they say, hey man, if you looking, you got a lot of listeners that listen to your show, why don't you shoot them spit some game at them and let them know it's okay to get at the Iceman. So I'm putting it out there. Go to asktheiceman.com. Also, if you want to be in touch with the Iceman all day, every day, 24/7, 365, you can get at the Iceman at Mr. Freeze at the Iceman Show on Twitter, and then on Instagram it's the Iceman Show. So I'm just putting it out there. If you're at least 30 years old, gainfully employed, got yourself together, financially independent, get at a brother. If you look good, work out, like to be healthy, I know some sisters out there that do that kind of stuff, so get at me. Anyway, this is a topic video. I'm doing this for a fellow Air Force vet, a fellow combat vet that stays in the ATL. He wanted me to talk about, and oh, by the way, if you want to nominate a topic for the Iceman Show podcast, go to asktheiceman.com, scroll down to the donate button, donate at least $30 to my nonprofit, and then I will do a topic for that particular donator, for that particular donor. Anyway, he wanted me to talk about why American women are so evil and just so hard to deal with. Well, Atlanta, the ATL is not a great place to date women anyway, unless you are willing to deal with hood rats and white supremacist females that deal with black men. And I'm not giving either one of those groups of women the time of day. I met a couple white females in the ATL, and that country vernacular and that accent just turned me totally off. And if I'm not going to put up with Minneapolis Caucasian women who play games, I'm definitely not going to deal with a Caucasian woman in the southwest or the southeast who think every black man is harder for a white woman. I don't deal with that kind of nonsense. Anyway, one of the reasons American women, period, are hard to deal with is because you have to go back. You have to go back way back in history to the beginning of the feminist movement and what that was about. Because we're not talking about women's suffrage. We're not talking about women's rights. So you have to be careful when you see people like Gloria Allred and her daughter, who's just as evil and nasty as she is. She's just a more passive aggressive version of her mother. But if you ever see Gloria Allred pop up talking about she's talking about her client she's got a female client who's looking to sue some man or something like that, or her daughter Lisa Bloom popping up somewhere on at a press conference, that the that the BS is on, and that the sideshow has already has already started, and that it's got to include talking about some man did something to a woman, and it's usually, like I said again, some nonsense. And so I remember when I wrote my first book, and basically this is probably the best thing to do is those of you who bought my first book, The Game of Life According to the Iceman, Volume 1. I talk about this ad nauseum, how American women are where they are and how black women behave the way they do at this point in American history. But you have to understand that feminism is something that was interjected into American society with the help of the CIA. And Gloria Steinem has always been an unofficial CIA operative, as well as Gloria Allred. And basically, the objective of CIA operatives who are not necessarily on the payroll, it is their job to be what is called in sociology to be a subversive. They're there to cause dissension, create deception, and to get Americans get their minds off what the real issues are of the day, which is white supremacy and the results of white supremacy. And what feminism did is it took our eyes, especially black women, especially college educated black women, it took their attention off the civil rights movement coming out of the 70s. And which is one of the reasons why a lot of black women did not go for that feminist garbage at first. It was mainly the ones who wanted to get on welfare and sit on their behinds, which is why women like my mom couldn't stand women who were in my dad's family or even her family that were on welfare. My mom didn't like that welfare crap. And whenever my mom dealt with women who would, be talking about how great it was to be on welfare and that they didn't have to work, my mom sooner or later didn't stop dealing with them women. Because that was just, my mom had too much class and was like, nah, I'm not finna promote, a welfare, a lifestyle in this house. I'm teaching my kids to get out here and work. My mom didn't play that crap. So going forward, the feminist movement was supposed to be a battle cry for American women to get equal justice to get equal justice. Basically, what it was really about was Caucasian, college educated women who wanted to be dominators like their white male counterparts. That's what it was really about. Because women don't want equal rights. They want to dominate men, which is something they will never do. No matter what you see on TV, you see all these bully, little attitudinal Caucasian women that are made to feel like they're running things on TV. Well, these women will run their mouth on CNN, but you guarantee in public they would never talk that kind of mess, talk the kind of nonsense they talking on TV because they know somebody will get at them. So it's easy for them to talk like badasses on TV and then get off TV and go home to their $1 million house after they've spent the last 2 or 3 hours spewing all that garbage. You digs? So fast forward till today, 2018. What these women here's why American women are evil and disingenuous, purposely disingenuous. A lot of these women, it's not just they're growing up in female-headed households. A lot of these women are just cowardly. Let me just be honest. A lot of these women that if you meet a woman and you know you a decent dude that got your life together and you're having issues meeting women, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. The culprits are these women, because you have to understand something. What makes these women cowards? Let me tell you what makes these women cowards. First of all, if you dealing with somebody, if you meet a man, used to be back in my day, if you met somebody and you weren't that woman's cup of tea, she just either ignored you or she was like, no, I got a man, or whatever. Usually they said they had a man. And so what you would do is move on. That's what real players did. We moved on. Okay, she ain't feeling me. Okay, fine, bye. I remember when I had a curl, I had women talk about, well, if you didn't have that curl, I'd holler at you. I'm like, well, I ain't getting rid of my curl. I'm going to keep that. So I had women saying little crazy stuff like that. Wasn't no big deal to me, because I still got women. Because more women wanted somebody with my hairstyle than those women who claim they didn't. Anyway, it's not just that these women are coming out of female-headed households where mamas teach them how to be slick and talk greasy to men and be the way that they are. These women misrepresent themselves. My ex-wife misrepresented herself. These women misrepresent themselves. They misrepresent. They'll pretend to be decent women who are looking for a relationship, and they're already in relationships. They're already married. But a lot of times these women are already in relationships already, and then they turn around and meet a guy that they know they're not interested in, but they'll go and waste his time. They'll go waste his time, even though that's not really a person they want to deal with. But they'll go show up to a dinner and take your money. They'll go and take your money and look and pretend like they're interested in you, waste your time, and sometimes they'll continue to waste your time days, weeks, months, and years later. It ain't just that women will mess around with men who are married. You got some men who mess around with married women. And sometimes they don't know these women are married. I've dealt with women that I didn't know were married. Well, if I would have told you what the real deal was, you wouldn't have stuck around. I said, what you should have done was given me the opportunity. You should have gave me the opportunity that I know who and what I'm dealing with. And you didn't give me that opportunity. And that's not popping. That's not popping for the Iceman. And so a lot of these women, if you grow up in a household, whether you got a man or not, most of these women are growing, especially black women, they're growing up in homes without men. But some of these white women too. What really you have to look at this as a character issue, because it's the character of these women that should be called into question. So when you're talking about cowardice and you talk about somebody misrepresenting themselves when they know they're not the women that they trying to pretend to be, that's a form of cowardice. It's cowardly for you to go and have a baby by somebody and go run down to the child support office. That's cowardly. That's why when you're dating these women, and when you first date them and they say, "Hey, I'm on the pill," and then and then you use a condom, and then 3 weeks later, here they go not making it mandatory that you wear a condom. That kind of behavior makes that woman's character questionable, because you don't know what she got and she don't know what you have. I was just looking at a video a few minutes ago of this young black woman who moved from Chicago down to Atlanta and got AIDS from some dude that she met driving down the damn street. And luckily she was able to find a husband. This guy married her and had 3 kids with her. And for what I was told, you could still get pregnant and have a baby and not pass HIV along to the baby if it's taken care of in utero. And I was thinking, yeah, he's a good guy for going ahead and making a life with this woman, but what turned me off about her was that when the interviewer was interviewing her, she admitted that this guy was a drug dealer and that she didn't question where the money was coming from, and that she came from a sheltered background, from an upper middle class family, and yeah, she was dating them kind of men. You see what's going on here, y'all? But she found something you can call this guy a simp, the guy she ended up marrying, but to each his own. You know what I'm saying? Some people just don't want to be alone. If I've met women and they've told me before we had sex that, hey, I'm HIV positive. I'm like, okay, see ya, take care. That ain't my problem. I'm not gonna make your problem my problem, because whether we work out or not, I still don't I don't want to be involved in that, because sooner or later that's going to become a problem. That will become a problem sooner or later. Anyway, these women don't handle adversity very well. See, when you grow up in a home where you have a mother and a father, they're yin and yang, you have to understand something. These people have they grow up more well adjusted. But when you have a woman who grows up in a home where it's just a mama and the mama's sorry, what ends up happening, people, is that mothers don't prepare their children for battle. They don't prepare their children for adversity. They don't. What they teach these kids is you have an excuse because you didn't grow up with your daddy and mama loves you, and it's basically all they're doing is providing four walls and a ceiling and a little bit of food and a bed to sleep on. And I'm gonna do a video on black parents treating their kids like pets, because that's really what you do. That's what you do with a pet. You give them a little food, you pat them on the head, and you give them a bed to sleep in, and that's it. And even a dog, especially a very intelligent dog, he or she's gonna sit there and be like, "Hey man, I know there's a better life than this. I know there's a better life than this." But when you do that to a human being, to a girl or a boy, that turns them into a monster. Maybe not necessarily a violent monster, but you turn them into, when you try to get with these men, or in this case of this video, when you get with these women, you're dealing with all their problems. Instead of having a sound relationship, you're dealing with a bunch of rigmarole and a bunch of nonsense. And their attitude is, well, every man should have to pay for what my last boyfriend did, or two boyfriends before him. Because that's where where you get these women that fall in love with any fast talking, shucking and jiving black man. They'll fall in love with him because he's exciting. He got a little money. But when all the fun is over with, you end up like that broad getting HIV or herpes or whatever virus that's been put out here. So that's a character issue when you deal with cowardice. You're dealing with somebody who's not being honest with you. They got a yellow streak down their back. They're not trustworthy. They're lying to you the whole time. And these are what we call takers. See, in the world we have takers and we have givers. Givers create. They love and they create. Takers, they take and don't replace or give anything back. And unfortunately, a lot of these women are takers. They don't bring nothing to the table but use for JJ. And you have to be aware of this up front. That's why I always tell guys, don't pay for anything up front. I don't care if she does call you cheap. I don't care if she says it's rude for her to have to meet you at Starbucks or just sit over a cup of coffee that she had to buy for herself. That's her problem. Because if she's really about that life and she's really about you, then she's going to give you a shot whether you meet her at Starbucks or not. I'm not taking somebody out on a date and eating and going to movies and stuff like that, and I don't know you. And it's not just the monetary value. Starting to see a lot more cases on Judge Judy of men suing women over dates. Because when petty begets petty. These women want to be petty and go on a date when they know they got a boyfriend sitting at home, or they living with somebody, or they got a husband, or they got one of one, two of two, or three of one of three, two of three, or three of three. I've met women like that. And I'm like, and I've had women ask me, they say, well, how come I didn't hear from you after we met? I said, because I know you're not single. And they're like, well, what do you mean by that? I wouldn't have shown up if I wasn't single. I said, I'm not gonna call you a liar, but I'm gonna tell you you're being disingenuous. You're being dishonest. And they were like, well, you have to explain what you mean. I said, here's what I mean, lady. I said, are you sexually and emotionally available? And one of the particular females that asked me this got tongue tied. And you know what I told her? I said, no need for you to answer. You've already answered for me. And she was like, oh, that's cold. I said, ain't nothing cold about that. I said, well, I am with somebody, but, me and him are on the outs. I said, well, you're still with him, though. I said, that's enough for me to say, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I want you to myself. I don't want to share you with somebody else. Do y'all understand where I'm going with this, ladies? A very intelligent man like myself can tell if you're not sexually and emotionally available. I'm not saying that if I meet you and maybe you and the guy you're with, things are starting to die down with him and maybe things are not working very well with him, and you meet me and you hit it off with me, and then maybe you slowly but surely start cutting him off, that's acceptable. What I'm talking about is you're never going to leave your husband, boyfriend, or your live-in boyfriend, and you dating me at the same time. That's what I'm talking about. And with you women saying, oh, well, you men do it, does that make it right? Does that make you're supposed to be an adult? This is why a lot of women get scared of me. Because the way I talk, see, you have to understand, I don't give these women anywhere to go. They have nowhere to go. They have no choice but to square up and be a woman about there. Because these females are always talking about what? Oh, y'all men need to man up. Well, you need to woman up. If you're not single, you need to go back over there to your man, because I don't play that, being a side piece. I don't do side pieces. Because if you're messing with me on the side, 9 times out of 10, you're probably messing with other dudes on the side. And there's no telling what kind of diseases these guys have. And there's no telling what kind of diseases you have. There's a lot of reckless women out here. It ain't just these renegade women are out here just talking greasy. They ain't just talking greasy. A lot of these women are living reckless. They live reckless, and they give the game a black eye, as well as some of these guys. You cannot passively aggressively come off as a man. And I tell guys this too. Guys that I counsel one-on-one. Guys that counsel me, that come to me and hire me to help them with dating and stuff like that. If that's all we're working on, the first thing I tell them when we get to the stage where we're ready to start, I'm ready to start counseling them on dating. The first thing we talk about is what's going on in their lives, what kind of families did they come from, what's going on with their parents. We talk about all that stuff. And the one common denominator that I notice it really keeps coming up between with some of these guys is that women view them as weak. And I keep telling guys, you have to, in order to, when you meet a woman, you have to present her with an image of strength. Okay? Strength and energy. Doesn't matter how old you are. Even if I don't feel energetic, if I'm talking to a woman and it's possible that I'm going to date her, then I make sure that I present a level of strength that she realizes only even though I'm in my mid-50s, I can still protect her because I'm in halfway decent shape. I let that be known. I let that be known, people. So these women grow up, they grow up being dishonest because, and like I said, they don't deal with conflict very well. They meet these men, say, and you have to understand about those kinds of women with low moral character. A lot of these women that are thoughts, they're ex thoughts or whatever, that got nothing but negative stuff to say about women. You have to understand something. These women can't handle life's adversities because not only can they not handle a male-female reciprocal relationship, their twisted logic is that a man is supposed to open his wallet to them or open his 401k to them, even in exchange for sex. If they have sex with you, it's like you owe them for a monetary access fee. So it's obvious this woman is a taker and not a giver. Let me explain something to you guys. A lot of men bring a lot of things to the table. If the woman sitting across from you is only offering you used vajayjay, get up and walk away and be a real player about yours, because it is not worth you embarrassing yourself and then getting hurt in the process and spending money on a woman who has no interest in you in the first place. Women, these evil, disingenuous women who are out here, they get their disingenuous behavior and their low moral character from their mothers, because their mothers told them, hey, you could talk greasy to these men, you can talk reckless out the side of your mouth, you can act reckless, you can go out here and have all these kids, you go out here and screw over these men, and because there's a lifetime supply of simps out here. So they think. So they think. Sooner or later they're gonna run it. They're gonna hit a brick wall. Some women, based on their personality, especially if they're an outgoing person, yeah, it's easy for an outgoing woman who ain't that attractive to have a guy around. It's easy for them. But if you got a nasty attitude, a lot of these women hide their nasty attitudes until they get their hooks in you, which I find to be interesting and again disingenuous, because again these used to be, again, when if a woman wasn't interested in you, she walked away or she lets you know to walk away. Now you got women who will just sit here and be like, well, I'm married, but I'm still going to go out here to the club and meet somebody. And you go out there and meet this chick thinking you met somebody you might want to hang out with, and she's somebody who's married. I done had women break stuff down to me the next day or the day after that, talking about, well, I just want to let you know I'm married. I'm like, well, what you doing up? What was you in the bar for the other night? My husband was tripping. Me and him about to get me and him. I'm probably gonna get a divorce. I said, sound to me like you ain't never leaving his behind, and I ain't finna hang around and wait. It's too many. It's too many women out here, dog. It's too many women out here for me to be running around here caring about and hanging around and waiting on a woman to get her head together. All I'm gonna do is tell her, hey, holler at me when you get it together. And even then, it's only gonna be about hitting the skins and you being a cuddy buddy. You ain't gonna be nothing else going on. But they grew up in a lifestyle where their mother was reckless about the mouth, greasy about the mouth. Behavior was thoughtish, and their daughters grow up and watch that crap. And the boys grow up, and instead of getting a woman, a different type of woman, they end up getting a woman like their mother, and they turn their son into that so-called no good end that they can't stand, that their mothers done been involved with over their years. That's why when I meet good-looking black women, especially the ones that got a big butt, they love to throw in your face, this gentleman, this white guy keeps trying to talk to me. He keeps texting me. And like I said, when I meet those kinds of black women and we're out and about or whatever, I make them pay for all their stuff. And I tell them, hey, I'm gonna meet you at Starbucks. And they're like, why we keep meeting at Starbucks? Because I don't see any way that we're gonna be dating exclusively. Just like, well, that's a possibility. How is it a possibility? And I've already got the impression that you're just out here looking for somebody to give you attention and tell you how big your behind is. I'm not doing that. And you know what I do? I walk. I walk. I don't hang around and try to convince some woman that she need to get with me. Look, let me tell you something. Guys. Let me holler at you, man. Look, I'm writing my second book, The Dating Bible. But I have some stuff in my old book, The Game of Life According to the Iceman, Volume 1. I got some stuff in there. I talk about dating in that book. It's just that the Dating Bible is going to be totally about dating. I'm telling you right now. This is that right there is my new book. If you get my paperback version of my book, that's how it looks. In the Dating Bible, I talk about this kind of stuff. I talk about disingenuous women and evil women and women who try to make the excuse that because they were hurt before, which it's probably a lie anyway. You have to understand, disingenuous women lie. A lot of these women lie. You can't believe nothing they say. Because they've lived a lifestyle of someone who was just dishonest. Their mothers were dishonest. There was no man in the house, so they grew up hating men, so they got daddy issues. And if you're talking about 85% of black women out here have never been married, yet they got kids, and then it's 90% of them. They say it's a 90% chance that they're going to stay single the rest of their lives based on their lifestyle. You have to understand, these women were thoughts at 15. So now that they're 45, you think they're a decent woman because they ain't screwing all these dudes now? That don't make her a lesser thought. She's still a thought. She's just an old thought. And you're dealing with renegade thoughts because this woman has never had a man in her life. You have to understand the role of a father. The role of a father when it comes to his daughter, the role of a father is to teach his daughter how her future boyfriends and husbands are supposed to behave. That's what a father's job is, especially once she start liking boys at 11, 12, 13 years old. If her father's in her life, he teaches her, hey, honey, you see how I treat your mom? When you and my mom have conflict, what do? I leave. I'll leave till I cool down or she cool down, and then I come back to the house, don't I? Have you ever seen me hit your mama? No. But unfortunately, you see me argue with your mother. Now, how he handles conflict with his daughter, and with his mama is going to determine how she dates once she starts liking boys in junior high and high school. So if you meet a woman at 30 years old that's already ate up and evil and thottish, you just stay away from it. Now, if you can stick and move like I do, if you at the player stage I'm at, like level 3, level 4, then yeah, you can go out here and mess with these thoughts and not get no collateral damage like having a baby with these women or marrying them. I haven't been in a relationship in years, and I'm proud of that because I haven't been in trouble with women, especially as it relates to the law, in a long time. And I don't want to be in a position where somebody is calling the police because I'm arguing with a woman. Because I don't hit women, but I've lived in apartments where I had somebody. Well, me and a person may have been arguing, and then somebody called the police on us. And by the time the police got there, we had already stopped arguing. And the police is like, "Hey, is everything all right?" "Yeah, we was just all right, man. We cool. We just sitting over here watching TV," which is what we were doing because I didn't let it get out of hand. But yeah, we were yelling at each other, but we didn't put our hands on each other. But I have dated women who are just the kind of women who like conflict. They're always trying to cheat. They're always trying to be slick. And they're always trying to do some underhanded stuff. And then when you call them out on it, you're controlling. See, that's those are the words spoken by a woman with no daddy. When you hear a woman tell you that you're controlling, get rid of them. Because that woman's going to be a problem. She's never going to take responsibility for her actions, which is the problem that a lot of American men, especially black men, face on a daily basis. Very seldom can I meet a black woman who ain't an educated hood rat or just a straight up hood rat. And when I say hood rat, I'm not just talking about somebody that's cursing and talking crazy and talking ghetto. I'm talking about somebody who sounds like a valley girl, white girl, and they're still just as hood ratish and just as ratchety as the typical hood rat. But we as American black men, we have to do better. We have to raise our profile, and we need to control the narrative. Brothers, we have to start leading, because when you lead, women follow. A lot of you guys think as a man, all you're supposed to do is look for a woman to have sex with. And that's not a man. Having sex with a woman don't make you a man. I keep telling guys that the two things that women want from the basic things they want from a man is physical security, physical security, emotional, well, actually three basic things: emotional security, physical security, and the one issue that we really don't want to talk about most of the time is financial security. They want those three things, but because of feminism, they ruin the third one. Because most guys say, well, if you're going to sit here and pop off at the mouth and talk greasy and talk about how you got a great job and you don't need no man, then why did you go off on me? Why did you get extra when we went to the movies and I asked you to pay your own way? Why'd you get extra on me? See, these women don't want to answer those kinds of questions. And chivalry is dead because of feminism. It's dead. Don't expect a man to open a door for you and treat you like a lady when you're disingenuous, misrepresenting yourself, lying, actually straight up bold-faced lying, and being evil. Don't expect any of these men to want to carry your load if you're coming off disingenuous. If you're coming off evil. A lot of times women, like I said, they're not used to having healthy reciprocal relationships with men because they never had a father. How do you expect her to know how to deal with a man other than being slick? A woman that doesn't grow up with her father or grow up with a strong father figure, she grows up distrusting men. So when she deals with you or I, her attitude is, well, I'm not going to tell him the truth. I'm never going to tell him the truth. I'm just going to be slick. And then when you find out about it, she acts like a child. Because you have to understand, this woman has arrested emotional development, which is often the case. You got a 40-year-old woman with the emotional functioning of a 13-year-old. And you know how 13-year-old girls act. They don't never want to take responsibility for their actions. So when you ask this woman to take responsibility for her actions, what she's going to do, she's going to run. And she's going to run to another simp. She's going to try to find a simp who's going to allow her to pull that crap, which most simps are going to allow anything and everything to happen because simps don't really want to deal with confrontation. That's why they throw money at everything. But this woman, if you met this woman at 40 and she's evil and disingenuous, she was that way at 15. Remember, she had a past before she met you. And I guarantee all of that evilness and that bad attitude started 20, 30 years ago. Because she was pulling that mess in her mama's house and her mama thought it was cute because she did it with her mama. Popping off at the mouth. Back in my day, even the single moms used to throw bowls on their kids. And the ones that did have good parents, that had a good, strong mother figure at home, these guys wasn't out in the street acting a fool. The only ones that were out in the street acting like idiots were the ones that didn't have no daddies, or they had a weak daddy. I had to do my dirt in the street and hope not to get caught, which most of the time I didn't. But there were times when I did get caught, and I got dealt with. So the point that I'm trying to make to you guys tonight is this. All is not lost. I have really encouraged those of you who don't have my new book, The Game of Life, according to the Iceman Volume 1. I strongly urge you get my book. I strongly urge you get my book, man. I really do. I strongly urge you get my book and read it 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 times, because sometimes I have to go back and read it. So, and all is not lost with these women, but you don't want to sit there and waste your time trying to get some woman to get her emotional functioning on track, because the only people who can get that on track is a mental health professional. These women need to go see a clinician. And a lot of these women really don't want to admit that the way they treat men is wrong. And it's not our fault. And it's not your daddy's fault. Even if you didn't meet your daddy, it's not his fault either. Because at the end of the day, it's your life that has to be transformed. And a lot of these women don't want to do the work. And so that's why you see all these broken women on online dating sites. Why? Because they ain't got nothing to offer. They're on POF, they're on plenty of fat fishes, or they're on some other old OK Cupid or some other old nonsensical site trying to fool somebody. That's why I tell guys, when guys send me emails talking about, what's wrong with these women on these online dating sites? I said, dude, don't mess around with them women. They ain't no good. The only women who are on online dating sites are problematic women who got something wrong with them. There's something wrong. The reason why they're on online dating. They're not on there because they're a great catch. They're on there because they know men. They've run through all the men that they're going to meet in person, and they know these men. They know anybody that meets them in person is going to figure out that this woman ain't nothing. That she ain't nothing but a taker. And that's why I be trying to explain to guys, hey, don't get caught up in a situation where you're giving and this woman is taking. There are women out here who are givers and takers. That's the way you gotta be. You give some, you take some. You give some, you take some. That's what a relationship is all about. It's about compromise between you and the other person. That's it. And an understanding. When I meet women and they ask me, are you looking for a monogamous relationship? If they got a potential, I say yes. If they're women that don't have potential, there's never going to be a relationship. If they're a decent person, yeah, I tell them. I say, hey, I'm not really looking for a relationship. Are you cool with that? Some of them are cool, some of them ain't. But I make it clear. Most of the time, I'm clear about my intentions. Look, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm just looking to get to know somebody, and if things work out, then I'm open to a relationship. But you have to prove to me that you're relationship material. I don't have a problem telling these women that. And they're surprised because they're not used to a man talking to them like that. They used to a man begging, oh, baby, when am I going to be able to get you between the sheets? Ah, girl, what can I get you between them sheets? Man, I'm so sick and tired of simps, man. I'm sick of simps. I'm sick of hearing about simps who go out here and give the game a black eye and then sit around on YouTube complaining about it. If you don't stand your ground and let these women know that it's your way or the highway, you're going to get run over by a train. and I'm using the train as an analogy, but you're going to get run over by these women. They're not going to respect you. At least if nothing else, these women run from me, but at least they run from me with respect. Because I look more like an authoritarian father to them instead of a boyfriend, somebody's potential boyfriend, because they never had a daddy. See, if they had a daddy who was a disciplinarian, then when they meet me, they say, well, he's kind of like my dad. Well, I might have caught something there. This is a good guy. But if all you're meeting is women who don't know their daddies, or maybe they know their daddies, but they got a bad relationship with them, man, how good a relationship do you think you gonna have with a woman that got daddy issues? It ain't never gonna work, dude. I don't care how much money you spend on her. I don't care how many comedy clubs you take her to. I don't care what so-called great uh, uh, restaurants you take her to. At the end of the day, she's still gonna cheat on you. She's still gonna go out here and be dating other men while she's dating you. And ain't nothing you can do about it but vote with your feet and walk away. Because that's what I do. I walk away. I'm not gonna get hurt just for the hell of it. Okay? It's not worth my time to waste my time with a woman who I know ain't trying to see life the same way I see it, in black and white. So the point that I'm trying to make tonight is this, fellas and ladies. When you go out here in the world, if you want to be a good girlfriend and a good wife, the one thing you're going to have to do is deal with your issues. If you got daddy issues, go deal with your daddy issues. And then after you work through all your stuff that's down in your heart, you get all that stuff out, now it's time to deal with men. It's not, you're not supposed to be dealing with a man and you got all this baggage you carrying around. It's not going to work. And every man you deal with, you're going to sabotage the relationship until you get some professional help from a licensed clinician. And it doesn't make you crazy. It doesn't make you mean. It makes you a mature adult, ladies. Don't put your daddy issues on every man you meet. It's not his job to be your psychologist. It's his job to be your lover, your friend, and your companion. That's what he's there for. He ain't there to help you work through your daddy issues. That's why I'm not married now, because I refuse to deal with some woman's daddy issues for another 12, 13, 14, 15 years, sucking the life out of me. Remember, you're looking for a giver and a taker, not just a taker. Don't get caught up with men or women who are just out here to take. Unfortunately, we live in a society where we have a bunch of takers. And you have to be mature enough and insightful enough to be able to see these women for who they are and walk away. If you don't have the player skills that it takes to stick and move and get with this female and be out, then don't deal with her. Because all you're going to do is get hurt. And she might even mess your job up or do other things to make your life miserable. Because women today, they don't just want to, like, say if things don't work out, they don't want to just walk away. What they want to do is ruin your life. And you have to be adult and aware enough, having critical thinking skills and objective critical thinking skills to not get caught up in that kind of nonsense. You tune into the Iceman Show. I'm your host, the Iceman. Go to asktheiceman.com for information on life coaching, business consulting, business plans. If you want to start a business, go to asktheiceman.com and click on the About the Iceman page, and it'll show you some of my business plan packages and the like. Also, I'm writing my new book, The Dating Bible, The Player's Guide to Dating in the New Millennium. I'm still writing it, y'all, so please be patient with me. I got a lot of stuff on my plate right now. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, don't suffer in silence. Don't put your childhood issues on somebody else, some unassuming, unknowing person. Don't do that. Don't do that it's not fair to them for you to do that. You tune into the Iceman Show. I'm your host, the Iceman. Holler at your boy.